That's actually one of my favorite things to do. I love
Uh-huh.
talking to strangers. I like finding something that's going on in the environment or whatever that you can comment on out loud and kind of like see who latches on, like who's going
Yeah.
to talk back.
Lovely you.
Welcome back to our podcast. This is Eligible In, where we interview eligible guests who are nominated by you, the family and friends of all of our guests. No algorithms, just real people, real stories, real connections. My name is Coco, and I am your host. Today, we are introducing McKenzie, nominated by her friend and colleague Andrew, who, fun fact, is one of our upcoming eligible guests as well. As always, if you enjoy the conversation, please follow us on YouTube and social media for more. Okay, what is a fact about you that always surprises people?
This
Take
is
your
kind of
time.
like one of my little nerdier tidbits. I like to read tarot for my friends.
Love that.
Yeah, it's
I have
totally.
so many tarot decks.
Do you really? I only have
Yes.
one. Like, I am not like that legit.
Oh no, I mostly I mostly like I've done some readings for friends and I wanted to do more. I went through a whole like kind of like big tarot phase. I haven't done it in a really long time. I mostly do it for myself though, but like the decks are so pretty.
They
Like
really are.
it's like one of those like you can really get into a financial situation if you don't stop.
That's fair. I kind of feel like I have like an attachment with my deck of cards that I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating on them if I like my friend has a deck that's like pasta themed. So instead of like the two of cups, it'll be the two of bow tie or like
Yes.
a pasta shape or something. And
Like
I'm
two of
just like
tortellini or something like
every
that.
time every time I pull from that deck, I'm like, I'm not sure if I really feel this. But yeah, I mean, it's all for fun, but it's like we'll sit around my like coffee table before we go out at night and be like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Or I just had two really
Yeah.
close friends like, looking for career change, and honestly, the cards were right. So
Period. Yeah.
period.
I love that. How did you get into tarot?
That's a good question. I used to listen to this girl on YouTube. Her handle or whatever was Your Sacred Scribe. I don't think she makes videos anymore,
Okay.
but she would make like an astrological video every day. And she started playing tarot cards, which is the first time I had ever even heard of them. And I listened to her for like years. It was just like every day on my
Yeah.
way to work, like, ooh, what could happen today? And I'm not like super, I don't know that much about like astrology. I like it and I like to like read my horoscope, but it's not something that I can't speak that intelligently on it.
Okay.
But I like the, ooh, I wonder if this will happen and just like the fun coincidences of it. You know what I mean? And it was just like always something. I mean, it usually was optimistic or positive, I feel like. So it was just something like, ooh, how's today going to go? Or what do I have to look forward to? Or
Right.
are my questions going to be answered? But I started watching her and I sent her link to a friend. And then that friend bought me this tarot deck card for my birthday one year. And then it just kind of became a thing. Like when we had people over, like, ooh, McKenzie, pull a card.
I love
But yeah,
that.
it's fun. I like it. Yeah, it's like a little witchy, but I'm into it.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. What is either the best conversation, one of the best conversation topics, or one of the worst conversation topics you've ever had on a date?
I'm trying to think of the worst. I don't know. No, it's so hard because you never want it to turn into like an interview. But I'm in my career is I do business development. So my job is to wine and dine and to meet a lot of people and take a lot of people out and chat. So I have a hard time sometimes I'm on these dates and I'm like, this kind of feels like work because it's just, I mean, it is get to know you stuff, but most dates you start with kind of the basic information. So anything that's going to kind of like get away from that, I guess. I had somebody do like a red flag or deal breaker on a first date. And I thought that was so fun because it got kind of like funny and weird and then you start thinking about, oh, if we were in a relationship, what are these, like, what are your like kind of deal breakers? But it was like light and fun, and he initiated it, which is great. I do find like a lot of times I'm on dates and I feel like I'm having to lead the discussion and ask all the questions. So whenever a guy initiate is really great, especially because my job is so heavy in that regard too. I love when somebody can kind of like take the lead at the end of the day too. I'm gonna say like worst conversation for first date is like it's not the worst because I actually think it's really important to talk about really early, but like when you go political and then if you don't agree politically, I'm like, okay, I'm like ready to leave.
It's so hard because it's like, I feel like part of me is like, I don't want my time wasted. So like, let's just get it over with on the first date. And then part of it is like, I don't want to like, I don't know, like Pavlov dog myself into like being stressed out on a first date because I'm going to ask this question or it's going to come up. So it's like, maybe save it for like the second or third date.
Yeah, I agree. I also don't think like a first date is the right time to talk about exes or anything like that feels like third date material to me too. Or like if anybody's ever like bad talking their ex or something, like that's not cool.
Oh, well, that's a red flag.
That's bad.
That's not going to get you a second date.
No, I was going to say, I don't feel like I've had, luckily, like a lot of experiences with like awkward or uncomfortable conversation. But again, I feel like that has more to do with me and less about the guy.
Okay, well, since we were talking about dating, have you been dating since you moved to Chicago? What has that experience been like? Any recent dates of note that you want to talk about? Why they didn't work or why they did work or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. I am dating. Use that term loosely because I haven't been on a date in a little while. I started the year off strong. I had 3 first dates in a row. I was like, yes, this is gonna be the year. I know. I don't know what happened. I think it was like the new year. They like reset my algorithm on Hinge or something, and it was like, here you go. And I was like, all great guys, nice guys, just absolutely nothing there. I felt not excited, which is sad because it's not like I could pinpoint this one thing or I don't know, but I like knew I didn't want to go on a second date with them. Like I knew because I had a lot of people being like, are you sure you don't need to just go on one more? And I'm like, no, I just know. And I don't think that's like really fair or right. And I'm a busy person. Like I don't need to, I don't want to. And I don't want to do that to them either if I'm like pretty certain this is where I'm at. And I've dated since I've been here. I do think like I'm meeting more like-minded individuals here. You know, moved from Dallas and it was a different dating pool down there. So I do feel like I'm meeting people who kind of like align with me a little bit more, which is great. But yeah, I don't know. I have Hinge. That's the only dating app I have right now. And I go in these spurts where I'll be like really active on it and then I'll let it sit. And I'm kind of in I'm letting it sit period right now. It's not like really bringing me joy or excitement, unfortunately. Ideally, I would just meet somebody in the wild, but I think that's obviously what we all want.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like I have to have it. Like I'm checking off the box that I have a dating app so that it looks like I'm trying. You know, I just feel like
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I have to have the dating app to say that I like want to meet somebody, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's
because people are like, oh, well then like, are you really trying? And it's like, girl, have you been on a dating app lately? Like, didn't I just hear you complaining about a dating app? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And I'm hearing like a lot too of people saying like, oh, you're probably stuck in like Rose jail or like the men that are stuck in your Rose jail. Have you heard about this?
No,
like
I can't even.
All the people that you would maybe want to go on a date with, you have to like give a rose to. Because they're in your standouts.
You know what? I can't even tell you the last time I was on Hinge. So no, I didn't know that. No, that was a thing. Honestly, thank God.
Yeah. So I don't know. And honestly, like after starting the year, going on a few dates and just not feeling anything, I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like 3 dates, like the numbers aren't good here. The stats are over 3.
Yeah. And it's the thing going back.
But
going back to what you said about like you just knew, I think it's very much a gut instinct thing, especially if you are somebody who has in the past, like you have gone on dates regularly, or even with like your job, like you just kind of know when you have chemistry with somebody or not. And it's like they can be the nicest person in the world, but like if it's not there, then it's not there.
Yeah. It's
So
kind of like the spark, which I feel like is a I don't know. People like really like that term anymore. I do. I don't know if it's a spark, but like you said, there has to be some inkling of chemistry. I do think like attraction grows, but I do think there's like kind of a baseline. And one of the dates I did go on a second date with, and it was kind of funny because like 3 minutes into the first date or the second date, I was like,
no.
"Oh, I must have been a little tipsy by the end of the first date." I don't know.
Dead.
I was just so certain, like, I'm not attracted to this person.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what it came down to. And not like they're a cute guy. Like, it was just, I don't like see this kind of like going to a romantic level at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, it's like, maybe it's not some, like, if people don't want to use the term spark, fine. But I mean, maybe curiosity is a better word. Like, there has to be a curiosity to want to know more about that person, like a curiosity to like want to, and like a wanting, like a curiosity and a wanting to spend more time with that person. If that's not there, like, and I don't like, it's easy for people, I feel like, not always, but like it's the same as like friends. Like you meet somebody and you're like, oh yeah, I'm curious. I want to know them more. I want to be their friend. It literally, I'm just like, translate. It's the same thing. Just drop it into dating. It is not rocket science. Like, I think we want to like try to overcomplicate things with romantic relationships. And I'm like, I think it's pretty simple when you're first starting out. I think.
Yeah. I think it should be.
You know, I think it's very, a human is a human. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing.
Totally. No, you're right. I like the word curiosity because I do think there's been times too when you leave a first date and you're like, yeah, I think that was good. But also there's a second party here. You know what I mean? Like, what is he thinking? And I think because everybody is on the apps and there are seemingly a lot of options out there, that you do kind of have to get somebody's attention. It has to be at a certain level of greatness for that person to also want to contact you and go out with you again too. And honestly, I've found myself in a lot of situations where we both just don't reach out again. I mean, like kind of mutual ghosting, but like nobody was ghosted, you know, essentially.
Yeah, right.
But it was just
sometimes it just like fizzles out.
That level of like, I guess neither of us were curious enough to go on that second date.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Dating.
I know. Somebody asked me today, like, are you dating? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like, no. Like, I would like to be. I also don't want to go on a boring date, really. Like, I value my evenings. I value this time. And I mean, we're all busy and I do like, I want a partner, but I also am not just going to date to date. Like, I want it to be something, you know, and not saying I also have to remind myself like it can just be for fun, but in the end I do want a relationship, something, you know, more long term too.
Yeah. But that's interesting that you say, I think I mean, obviously we started this podcast to be more connective with people. So I agree with you. I think people are very desperate for any form of real connection with people. I think that is a symptom of having been isolated by social media for a decade plus. And even my men and women friends that I have, like you said, like everybody is just kind of tired. It also turned into this very like check a box, but also like this person needs to meet all of these requirements before I even talk to them. Kind of like there's all these stipulations and it's like, and I'm totally guilty of that too.
Me too. Yeah.
But it's like, it's kind of like your comment about first date. Like, let's just like talk. Let's see if there's a connection. Let's just connect on a human level and go from there. And like, not every little thing has to be a deal breaker or a red flag.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I am all about like a 30-minute coffee date would be my dream. Let's bring those back because I think you're right. Like, let's not do all the vetting over an app or what. It's all very surface level too, because I mean, talking just like, oh, I find him attractive or I don't. I've met people in person who I found very attractive, and then I saw their dating profile afterwards, and I was like, I would have never swiped right on you. And you are, you know, so attractive, but it also has to do with like how you speak, like how you smell, like what you wear, and just like how you carry yourself in a room. And I think that's like so much more important. And obviously, it goes both ways too. So I probably am more captivated person than I am in, I mean, I hope I am, than I am in 2D on your screen. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. And I do think like, yeah, I mean, I will say, no, I shouldn't say that. I should say that. If a man has conservative on his profile, it's going to the left. And that I think it's okay to have deal breakers, but I do agree, like some of these things, like, are they really deal breakers? The fact that he's 5'8", is that a deal breaker? Like
I've never gotten the height thing.
It's not for me either. I mean, I do want him to be my height or taller, preferably.
Sure.
But I've never been like, oh, he's got to be 6'2". I just really.
Yeah. I'm like when I really think about it, I'm like, if they like, it's those deeper things that really make me more curious about a person than it is. I'm like, if you're like, nobody can control that. Like nobody can control their height. Nobody can control their body type. Like just stop. Let's just stop.
The reason I don't want to be with a man shorter than me is like my own insecurity, because I don't want to feel like this.
Sure. But most people,
really, you know, like it has nothing to do with that.
Most people don't want to acknowledge their insecurities or like they're leading. Or like they're leading with vanity, which is fine. All of us are vain in some form or another. And it's like, just be honest, which is easier said than done a lot of times. But I'm like, a lot of issues would be like, a lot of unnecessary things would be solved if we were just a little more honest and vulnerable about how things.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think like it's okay to have like your major deal breakers, but if you have 25 deal breakers, like you're never gonna find the right person. But also like people change, people can adapt and like learn. Like I'm a different person today than I was 5 years ago, and that's a good thing. But like I know I'm not perfect. There's things I could work on too. So like if someone were to say it's a deal breaker because you work too much, or I don't know, you know, like, okay, well, if I had a partner, I would scale back. I would reprioritize. Like we're able to make changes too, but I think you're right. Like we sometimes are so quick to just be like, oh no, and I'm not going to work on that. And I do think the apps have kind of killed that too, is like no one wants to work on anything. Like if you get in a fight with somebody that you're just dating, you can I just assume I'm never going to talk to them again. It's like, this is what a relationship is. Like, let's work through this together. You know, it's okay to argue and disagree, but you have to be able to communicate. And that might be the best relationship you've ever been in if you are able to get through it. You know what I mean? It probably will bring you closer. I feel like people are so quick to throw in the towel and just be done and walk away. And I think that's what's like so scary and unfortunate about like the current dating scene.
Yeah. And it's, I think people have forgotten, like people think that any sort of like conflict or tension equals fight. And it's like, no, like having a tense or like uncomfortable conversation or even like a debate about something is not grounds for completely dismissing somebody. I have tense conversations, especially over the past handful of years, even with my friends, you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that I hate them or I never want to speak to them again. That's how you grow. And sometimes like you are going to butt heads about things. There are some things that you realize you both want the same goal, like end goal, but you fundamentally have two different ways of getting there. And that is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of on that note too, I get like so overwhelmed with like everybody's a dating expert now, and like I'm inundated with all this information on Instagram or whatever, and it's like if he wanted to, he would. If he really liked you, you would know. You wouldn't have questions. And if he's not texting you, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, but you could like find data or information, like advice to support any theory you want, really.
Right.
Super unhealthy. And I think it's like no one's going by a textbook. Like I think it's okay that maybe this doesn't go the way you like had hoped, but that doesn't mean it's like throw in the towel, it's over. I mean, I think it's just like we're normal people and things come up and
yeah. Well, and that's when like you were talking about communication comes into play, because it's like, okay, well, that person may not be texting you back. Did you try reaching out to them, being like, hey, haven't heard from you in a little bit, like just wanted to check in? No, you didn't do that. Maybe you should look in the mirror first. there's a lot of things. At the end of the day, we're all trying to figure it out. There does need to be more grace given to everybody all around.
I also don't believe like you can say like I could text somebody something and that is the reason that they never speak to me again. I truly don't like really believe that. Like I do think like if it's meant to be, or if you're meant to like be with this person, it's gonna work itself out. Like I do kind of like the saying, like you can never say the wrong thing to the right person or whatever. It's like yeah, and I think that's it's like true in friendships too. It's like my friends and I don't always agree. I probably been a dick to my friends before. We've gotten too drunk and said things we regret, and we're still friends. You know, like you work through it, and that's like a romantic relationship is the same thing. You just add the romance.
Right. There's just like making out involved.
Exactly.
Unless you make out with your friends, in which case, no judgment here. But you know, yeah, it's here's an interesting, and again, feel free to do or don't. You can say skip, and I'll ask a different question. But I don't think this is something we've super talked about on the show yet. Have you had a major heartbreak, and what was the big takeaway from the experience? Or if not, congratulations. Like,
yeah,
the congratulations, you haven't like had your heart broken. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I was going to say, has anyone survived this long and not? I have, definitely. Yeah, I think I've had 2 very significant heartbreaks. And the first was like my high school boyfriend, which seems so silly, but truly that is like a pivotal time for people.
It is. It really is.
That was the first time I was like truly in love with somebody. And as silly as it seems, like we have no connection today. He is like, I think happily married with children and whatever. But I think about that relationship a lot because I was just like, I mean, you're also in high school, so you're like skinny and fit and you're in 14 sports and whatever. Well, and
you're a child. You're like a literal child. Like, you know what I mean? It literally is you have a different brain, literally.
No, and like nothing that matters to me today in a relationship. Like, I don't know what his political affiliation was. I don't know if he like went to church. Like, I don't know what he wanted to do when he grew up. Like, there are so many things that like matter today that I would ask a partner that. So that was whatever. Okay. So I just remember like how I was and so confident and carefree. But again, that has a lot to do with my youth. And I think that one just like, it took me a long time to get over it. So that, I mean, there's a learning in there, but I think like the more major one happened. I was dating somebody my senior year of college, and he was in a 5-year program, so he had another year to go. So we did like a year of long distance, and this is someone today that I would run for the hills. Pretty much everything that I don't want is this man. But I think also I was at a time like leaving college. I kind of thought I was going to like meet my person in college, like we all do. And I think I was just like going through a tough time. Like, okay, I'm moving in, I'm transitioning to adulthood. I'm going to start a career. And, so I left college with this boyfriend that I thought was going to be like a significant, relationship in my life. We did our like pretty much a full year of long distance, and I was living in Dallas, and he came down, and he was actually, my background's interior design, and he has an architecture degree. And so he was actually coming down for an interview at the company I work at. Like put my foot in the door for him, and he broke up while he was down there for his interview. And it was just extremely out of the blue. Like I had a friend reach out to me and say, oh, he like contacted me and was like talking about like engagement rings. And so my mind was just like, I'm going to marry this person. And then I was just like so caught off guard. It was the most shocking experience of my life. I truly didn't see it coming. And I always like kind of laugh when people are like, you didn't know, you had no idea. I truly did not. I think clearly he was like not sharing a lot of his concerns with me. But that being said, it is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because if I would have been in that relationship, I would be divorced, or it would be annulled, because he's very our families would have never been able to be in the same room. He did vote for Trump the first time, and I couldn't talk to him for a week. So I probably should have known then that it was not going to work out between us. But I think, especially with like how the world is today, that's the last relationship I should have ever been in. But I think just like the shock of it all and where I was at in life, and like, I moved to a big city and I had this great job, and I spent that first year doing long distance with this dud.
Yeah.
And then I had to like bounce back and get out there again. And yeah, it was tough. But again, like it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Like I'm such a different person today than I was then. I am really proud of the person I am today, and being able to like be confident and speak my mind and share my opinion, and not be with somebody that I had to kind of like mold to be with. And it was going to be an issue with his family. They were already talking about me like converting to Catholicism. And I was like, I couldn't tell you the last time I went to church. That doesn't feel authentic to me. Yeah, it wasn't it. It wasn't it. So
yeah. Also, I'm going to assume he didn't get that job.
No, he did not move to Texas. Thank goodness.
Thank God. Could you imagine the audacity of that man to come down and interview at that you like put in a good word for? And if he would have gotten that job, I would have been like
so outraged. Oh my God. Yeah. Little piece of shit.
Well, everything happens for a reason.
Totally. Yeah. I've been let down since then, but that one was just like the most like, oh my God. Like it was the first time my life was like going on this track, and it just totally went a different way. And again, like couldn't be more thankful that happened.
That was the universe doing you a fucking solid.
100%. And even like my friend afterward was like, yeah, I was a little concerned. And I'm like, you need to tell me these things, because I was not thinking. I was not thinking.
You know what? That's a great question to ask. I'm going to assume, since you said that, are you a person who wants to be told? Because some people are like, my relationship is my business. Like, I don't want anybody to like give me advice, tell me what to do, whatever. Are you more like, no, I want you to tell me, like, or are you somewhere in the middle?
I like to think I'm the person that wants to be told, but it's always hard to hear. I will say I have I have a specific friend. We've been best friends since second grade. She's my sister. You know what I mean? Like, she knows everything about me like that. I want her to tell me, because she knows me the best, truly. And I always say like she's married. So her and her husband, I'm always like, you guys are the first ones. They're always the first ones to meet a guy if it's like at that level. Because honestly, it's really important for me too to be with somebody that like can go over to their house and have a chill wine night, sit on the sofa, watch The Bachelor or some random, like trashy television. Like, I want somebody to fit into that, because that's an important relationship to me. But mostly because she just knows me so well that I do want her to tell me. And it is usually a little like tough lovey, because I do think I go for a type that is really not what I should be.
We all have our patterns and our cycles we have to break.
So like, I don't think you are into this, or I don't think that's right. And she's always right. So
yeah.
So yeah, but like there's other friends where I'd probably like take it or leave it, the advice, just because maybe, it's just a different relationship. Or like my mom, I don't know if I want her to weigh in, because I don't want her relationship. So
well, and there it is. Yeah. Hey, honesty.
I mean, my parents are married. I love them both. It's not exactly what I would choose for myself.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it does depend on the people that you have around you. Because it is, you do want those people who are going to be honest with you, but are going to be kind about it. You know what I
And
mean?
she is 100%
Because it
delicately.
is, yeah, I mean, it is. It's hard because I think this gets into like deeper. Like there's so many layers to this, but it's like there does become a sense of like shame or failure if like you're the one in this relationship and the people around you are like, I think you should, I don't think this is good. I don't think this is the person for you because but you also need that perspective because you're so in it.
Yeah.
That it can be hard sometimes to zoom out and see that perspective. So it really does take people who are really truly in community with you and that you trust to kind of sit you down and like have that come to Jesus moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
I will say, like, sometimes it's hard for me though, because I'm like, Lauren, no, I don't know if you probably want to cut the name, but like, I don't know. I don't know if it matters. But, like, your expectations are too high. Sometimes I'm like, girl, I'm never going to find this unicorn. But she's like, McKenzie, stop. Because again, our bar is so low. And she's like, no, this is a normal thing for you to ask for. You're not crazy. I'm in a happy marriage. It's proof that this can happen.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm like, Lauren, you don't get it. It's tough out here. Like, you don't understand. You're not living it. But she's always right. And I know that she truly is like looking out for me and has my best interest at heart. So I'm like,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah. I think that's also another thing we don't talk about enough too, though, is like, again, I think it's the right people, whether they're single or in a relationship or not. I think it really does depend on like the relationship you have with certain people. But I have once people get into a relationship, there's almost this like amnesia that happens.
Yes.
And I'm like, you have really, and I'm so happy for you. I'm happy you have found somebody you want to share your life with. I'm happy that you have this person to like help you through. And also, you have forgotten what it is like to be single and living alone and having to do everything by yourself. And of course, you can experience, we talked about this in the roundtable discussion we had, but it's like, yes, you can feel lonely in a relationship. That probably means you probably shouldn't be in that relationship. You can experience loneliness whenever, but like people in relationships do forget that loneliness that like can be so crippling when you are single.
Yeah.
And have to do everything on your own. And when you like are in that mindset and then like download an app, it's like, no, you're probably not making the best decision. But it's hard. It gets hard. And it's like people in relationships really need to like, they need to remember that about their single friends, and they need to give their single friends some grace.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I was listening to a podcast the other day and the girl was on there and she just turned 40 this year, has been single for a really long time, but finally met somebody. And she used to joke like she never wanted to live with her significant other, and now they're engaged and he's moving in, and she's like, I changed my mind. I'm entitled to that. But she kind of gave this little monologue of their recent episodes, and it was just like, to all those single girls who are kind of like, is this ever going to happen for me? Like, take advantage of the time you have now when you get to come home, cook yourself dinner, pour that glass of wine, put whatever the fuck you want on television, not give a shit. Like, do what you do, because those days are limited. And it really just hit me like, I need to just try and like get my mind to shift in that direction, because I do love doing those things. I do love that I'm not reporting to anyone and I can do whatever the heck I want, but I want to be able to switch my mind, because I do want a partner as well. And when those days do come, I want to be able to like fully embrace it and know that like I took advantage of my single time and now I'm, ready to be with somebody too. But I do think it was like a good reminder that these days are limited, even though they feel like they're dragging on forever.
Right. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Final deep question. Since you were talking about the aspects of your single life, what's something about your life, like when you meet that person, that you are really excited to share with them?
Yeah. I think it's just all of the small things, like waking up on a Sunday morning and walking to the farmer's market and all these things that you just like want to do, but you don't want to do alone. And then you're not sure if you're going to be able to get a friend to come with you. It might be last minute or whatever. And everybody's so busy. It's like, this person has to go. You know what I mean? But I think I'm just like looking forward to kind of like the mundane, every like a weeknight, making dinner, recapping our days and just like the day-to-day stuff. But then also, I love to travel, but I do not like traveling alone. I have tried it, so I can say I did, but I did not thoroughly enjoy it. So I'm like hopeful to meet somebody who also kind of like has the desire to see the world and try new things, different experiences, and do that. Like I studied abroad in Italy, and I'm like I want to go back to Italy with my person. Like I'm like saving that trip for somebody. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like just excited for all of it. I think it's super exciting that, you know, it's like another, I mean, hopefully it's my best friend, you know what I mean? So just to like do life with somebody. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like I do a lot of work events in the evening, and I would love to come home to someone, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that would be really nice.
Yeah, there is something beautiful about sharing the mundane things with somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's just those, like, I feel like those are a lot of the moments that you look back on that like stack up and really like show the breadth and the width of a relationship, of how you how you spent your life together.
Yeah, totally. And a support system, somebody that's your biggest cheerleader and excited for you, and vice versa. You know, I'm excited to be that for somebody too.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So the thing that I do is I ask people what are their red flags, green flags, and pink flags that they look for in a person. Pink flags being like, it like may like irk me or annoy me, but it's not a deal breaker. Like not folding your like not putting the laundry away like right away, or like leaving things in the sink instead of putting them in the dishwasher, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I flip it and I'm like, what are, like, if somebody was looking at you, what are some red flags, green flags, and pink flags about yourself that people might see, might want to look out for?
Yeah. Okay.
You start. You can start with other people. So like other things you look for in other people.
Okay. And another person, green flags are open-mindedness, being a kind person to people who are not like you, and you know, just being tolerable of everybody. I think that you get what I'm saying. Pink flag is probably being like a little reserved in a social situation, or maybe not confident in a social situation. I think I am a very social person, and not that I'm saying I want to be with the life of the party or anything like that, but I also want to go in somewhere and have somebody like not have to be at my side all night. I mean, that's fine too, but like navigate a room and be comfortable talking to people. So I think if somebody like weren't comfortable, it's like not a complete deal breaker or red flag, but I would just like somebody like a little bit more confident in that regard. And then my red flag is just super conservative.
Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, I don't tolerate that. I'm a strong believer in, LGBTQIA and women's body and autonomy and making your own decisions and minding your own damn business. So, I have no time for that, and it just won't work for us. So that's my yeah. So period. Yeah, I love it. Mic drop. For myself, I think my green flag is that I feel like I can talk to anybody. I think you could put me in any environment and I'm gonna do okay. You don't have to hold my hand or anything like that. My pink flag is maybe, well, I do my laundry and sometimes I leave it in the basket after it's clean for too long.
Okay. Same, honestly.
Yeah. Or maybe like how much I work in evenings and stuff. But I think I mentioned this earlier too. Like I'm willing to reprioritize. Like if I had a partner, I would maybe like scale back on some things too. Like I would make it work.
Yeah.
Flag, I have an anxious attachment style.
Heard.
But at least I like know, I think the first step is like acknowledging. So that might be a red flag for somebody who just can't handle it or give the validation that I need. But I do think like the older I get and the more in tuned with that I get, I am able to speak to it and ask for it. And I just know that I need to be with somebody who can provide that, obviously, but not everybody can. So I would say that is my red flag. And if you're MAGA, then I'm a walking red flag.
You're a liberal snowflake and can't handle anything.
Yeah. I kind of hate that the world has come to this because it's not even like, not to really go down this rabbit hole, but like before all this, like you could be a Republican and we could still be together. I just think there's like a big difference between George W. Bush, Mitt Romney, and Trump. Like now that we're going after people's rights, I just can't stand it or tolerate it. So I think it's a different ball game, and unfortunately I think it's translated into every aspect of our lives now. We can't just say politics, but politics are ingrained in everything we do anymore. So yeah.
Well, thank you so very much, McKenzie, for sitting down with me. It's been lovely chatting with you and getting to know you.
Yeah, you too. This has been so fun.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. All right, everybody, that was McKenzie from Chicago. If you or someone you know would be great for McKenzie, we would love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at hello@eligiblein.com or via our social media, our handle being @eligiblein. If you would like to nominate someone you know, visit us at eligiblein.com. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to Eligible In, a production of Eligible In Media. Our theme song is by Monster Rally. If you see someone you like on our show, or if you would like to nominate yourself or someone you love to be interviewed by us, please visit us at eligiblein.com for more information, including a link to subscribe to our newsletter, where you can stay up to date on our newest episodes, as well as exclusive features of our eligible people.
Lovely you.